Gentlemen, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Wow, great.
Oh,
That
okay.
was kind of different. Nice to see you guys again. Everybody,
as well.
welcome to another version of the Heikadelic Show.
Yeah, another Heikadelic experience.
Yes.
So how you doing, Hike?
9:30, where we get dirty.
Yeah, we're getting dirty,
Yeah.
not dirty.
Yeah,
How you doing,
yeah.
Hike? How was your week?
My week was okay. Slowly getting better. I had my first massage today, and she beat me up pretty damn good. I tell you that. I'm feeling it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Nice
sore, and it's
massage.
kind of weird. You get that fuzziness in your head after a really good massage. Well,
Right.
it cleared my sinuses too, so now I'm kind of like, you know.
Yeah, with your head down.
Yeah, you got
Oh,
your
yeah.
face in the bowl. Yeah,
I get that every time too. Every time I get a massage, man, I swear I'm just like, first thing I do, just hand me a Kleenex because I'm gonna need it.
yeah.
That's deep tissue. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Deep
go.
tissue. Yeah,
Deep tissue.
Tissue.
There you go.
and then Friday I got my first away physio, so we'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
That's when you're
Wow.
gonna get sore. Physio, first couple times. Whew.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I don't care,
it's
man.
good.
I want to get everything going again, get my muscles and everything back in gear, so I can get busy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to get back on my bike so Ringo and I can go for a ride.
Go
There
to
you go.
Country Stop Burger. Get yourself a good burger.
Yes.
Say hi to Danny.
You got that right.
Yeah.
So what's new with you guys?
Well, go ahead, George. Let's hear what's new, George.
I mean, it was Canada Day. We had a long weekend. Had the grandkids over. That was a lot of fun, but a lot of clearing up to do afterwards. But
Oh, I bet.
yeah, and talking of things medical and that, I had an MRI scan last Wednesday, and that was weird. Like,
Is that your first one?
yeah, they put you in the tube and everything, and
Yeah.
earplugs, and it's like, and your nose is touching. You know, if you move your head, you bang your head on you're in this cylinder.
Yeah, you're in this little
tube. It's like
tiny tube. Yeah.
you're in there for like 15 minutes, going, you know, with all these noises. Yeah. So that was at 7 a.m, for God's sakes.
Oh shit! Really? Wow.
Yeah, they're always at weird times.
Oh man, I got there at 6:15 in Ajax, right? And I was on my way home by 5 to 7. My appointment was at 7, so that was great. No traffic, no nothing. Boom, boom, in.
Perfect.
And dusted.
That's good. And good evening, Richard. We see he sent us a hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a picture of his pool there. He's got a nice little place.
Yeah.
On Facebook, he's got the above ground pool, a lot of expanse, property.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah, living the dream.
That's all we could do, right? Live the dream.
Live the dream. Yeah, it was good.
Ringo, how you doing, buddy?
You're very quiet tonight.
Oh, I can't hear Ringo.
Oh, that's why he's quiet. His mic's not on.
Yeah, you got no mic. No mic, Ringo. Yeah. No mic.
Damn.
We'll call you Johnny. We're not going to call you Mike.
Oh,
Yeah, still nothing.
any sign language.
And hello to all you fans out there that decide to join us today. We still don't know why you come and join us every Monday night because it's the Heikadelic Show.
It's
Well,
like it's an hour and a half. You won't get back ever.
That's
Yeah.
right. Our fans are all the people that have nothing better to do, right?
Yeah. It's like us, right?
Yeah. We don't have
Also-
any hobbies or anything cool that we were going to do. So Monday nights we do this.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's
Nothing we
no-
could stay out of trouble on Monday nights.
There's no soccer game. Well, actually, there's a soccer game tonight.
My son played soccer tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah?
plays on Mondays and Tuesdays. They were doing it online for a while. He plays on the rep team, so they for a month and a half they did it online, and it kind of like this,
Yeah.
but with 20 people, right?
How do
And
you
they're all
play
doing
online? How do
well,
you
you
get
do
the
it-
ball
you
to
just
the
do it-
next guy?
You're just doing drills.
Yeah.
It's, so
Yeah.
being 9 years old, he's like, man, this sucks. So 3 weeks ago now, they were allowed to start practicing on the field together.
Ah,
And
right.
it's hey Ringo, and he likes it a lot more. So next week they're gonna have their first game actually.
Oh,
wow.
cool. Yeah.
Excellent. That's good. That's good to hear.
So you can hear me now, right?
Yes, sir.
You can.
Can hear you now.
Okay.
Holy
So,
crap.
good. I mean, congrats on the world record, Derek.
Oh,
that was very cool.
Well, that's what I did last week. Thanks. Yeah.
My world record's a little more. Yeah. So my somehow last week I went up north to Sudbury, and somehow I either stepped on some spider ant or fire ants or whatever they're called, or got bit by black flies. But the only place I got bit was around my ass. And so I have about 30, 40 bites maybe. And I'm telling you, it's fun to sit down right now, boys.
Sounds like sand fleas.
It could be, actually. There were, pretty crazy bites and itch. Oh, my God. The last time I got bit like that was in Cuba.
Oh, yeah? Well, there you go. Sand again.
So that was from the old lady with the sharp teeth, right?
All righty.
You're sure it's not the Klingons around your anus, right?
Oh God, here we go. So Danny's on. Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny. I was by there today, buddy. I had fish and chips because that's what I eat.
Yeah, that's what you like, eh?
Yeah.
What's he got there? What's Danny saying?
Danny's got everything.
He's waiting for us guys. Sunday's 5 to close.
I was going to say, I think Danny's closed tomorrow. He's given his staff, because they worked over the long weekend. He's given his staff the day off. I thought that was very good of him. So here's a Tuesday.
That's the kind of boss anybody would like, hey?
Yeah,
guy like that,
right?
Yeah, no, the fish and chips are always bang on when I get them. I love it.
Yeah,
nice big chips too, right?
And it's such a nice ride up there too, up 48, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is.
So I
took you guys on a nice little route last time we went there on our bikes. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was, I was completely lost actually, but yeah. So I want to say hi to our friends at Indie Rock Radio in Montreal and on the West Coast. So, and our friends on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So, going to be a great show. We have Rudy Blair tonight.
Yes, we do.
And he'll be coming on in a little bit. But before we get to that, what do you got for us in terms of show us your backside?
You want to see my backside this week? You want to see what it looks like this week? It's not got bites on it like yours.
So. You don't want to see mine right now, man.
Not really.
I'm telling you.
I kind of do.
I regret saying that already because, the
lower part of my ass cheek, and I'm kind of, flat to begin with, but the lower part feels like, actually, I have an old motorcycle with a saddle seat on it, and it's all leather, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Oh, not good.
Tastes about the same when you lick it.
I'll send you some pictures.
Oh, perfect.
All right, give it to us, George.
What do you got, pal? George? Let's see your backside.
Well, last week no one got it right. I won last week. Michael Jackson, the Dangerous album. The week before, nobody got Pete Townsend. So I'm on a bit of a roll. So this week, I've got you this.
George, come on. Okay. I'm not going to say anything yet.
Yeah.
But is that another solo album?
It is a solo album.
I know who it is.
All right, keep it to yourself then.
Yeah. All right. I will.
All right.
Wow. You're good at this, Derek.
Yeah. There's a couple things there that give it away.
All right. Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Well, whoever it was who was he wrote stories. There's a freaking novel on the back of that album cover.
Oh, he's got some stories, bud. He's got some good stories.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then you want to go? You want to go right into A and B?
We can do that. It's early. Yeah, sure.
We got.
Hang on.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, we've got to do this right.
Is anybody out there want to challenge me on this one? I got it.
There's people dying of thirst out there.
Yeah. We're all dying of thirst.
La, 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 la. La, la.
I like your mug.
Yep. That's from my two Morkies.
Yeah.
Bourbon and Briar. Yep. That's what I got for Father's Day from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got
and what's
engraved
it say?
Yeti. It says, "Thanks for picking up my poo, Dad."
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to throw something there really quick because otherwise I'll forget. And this goes out to Danny at Country Stop Burger. My wife stopped by there last week because I've had such a craving to go and get some food there, but I haven't been able to. She left work and dropped by there and brought me back a burger and fries. And
Nice.
she was saying she had to start eating the fries on the way home in the car, and she's compared them to all the other places, she says, and she said, "You tell Danny he's got the best fries going." And to Danny, you satisfied my wife again. Yeah.
Something Heiko hasn't done in years.
I know, eh?
Yes,
He's got away.
There is a nice coating on them fries. There's something on them that makes them taste a little different, and they're crispy on the outside and soft in the middle. You know,
well, it's just the way they're cut too. They're hand cut, big potatoes. Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. So thanks, Danny. You did it again. Satisfied my wife when I wasn't around.
I thought you were right there beside her.
Yeah.
That's service. Right. That's what you call service.
Yeah.
When you go for fish and chips, yeah. I look forward to trying them later on.
I know. We got to get out there. I'd like to try the fish and chips there myself because I enjoy that. I try that different places I go as well.
Yeah.
The batter's nice and fluffy, and it's a little bit sweet. Everything he makes there is all homemade, right? So
yeah. Stop it, man! You're making me hungry.
Hey, three girls are in potato sacks.
Are they?
Yeah. How do you tell which one's easy?
Oh.
The one that says Idaho. And Danny uses Idaho potatoes, just so you guys know.
Yeah, there you go. Gotta love it.
All right. Are we ready for the challenge?
Yeah, you know what? Our brains are either flat or ready to go, but throw it at us. Let's see what happens here.
All right. So last week, Ringo didn't get any points this week, and Heiko increased his lead to 2 points.
Woohoo!
16-14. We keep losing Ringo.
Well, hopefully this goes well.
I think he's just trying to look up the questions.
Probably.
He doesn't want to get caught.
All right, so Heiko, it's your first pick this week. Look at this.
Wow.
Do you want the A side?
Oh, you got it on a 45?
Oh, look at that.
Nice. Look at that. I really changed it up. I'm going to go for B.
You going for B? The question on the B side?
Yeah.
I would have taken A. It says sunset.
That's okay.
No, it says sonnet.
Oh, okay. Sonnet. Yeah, okay.
I think that's a Swedish label back in the 70s, believe it or not.
Anyway. ABBA.
ABBA weren't on that one.
Okay.
They were on Polar Records, but who's counting?
Oh, wow.
Right. So you're going for the B-side question. There it is. This is all about studio albums. Right. The number of studio albums that have been recorded by a particular band. Now, so the Queens of the Stone Age have 7 studio albums.
Okay.
7. Do Slipknot, have they got more or less studio albums than 7? What do you reckon?
Oh.
Well, Slipknot has been around longer than Queens of the Stone Age.
Right.
Yeah.
And they tour quite often.
Mm-hmm.
But a studio album.
Queens of the Stone Age is also a studio band, though. Mm-hmm. He uses lots of different musicians. So, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
I know the answer.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
He knows the answer to everything tonight.
I know. He's the music maniac.
He can even translate Russian. I mean, I didn't know he could do that.
So run that by me.
That's how I knew what it was, George.
Okay.
As soon as I saw that.
All right.
Run that by me again.
All right. Queens of the Stone Age recorded 7 studio albums.
Yep.
So far.
Okay.
Slipknot, have they recorded more or less than 7 studio albums in their career?
No, is that full-length albums or
just studio albums?
I'm gonna say less.
You go Slipknot less.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to say anything.
That's fine.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say "Are you sure?" because you can change your mind at this point if you really wanted to. I'm not going to say any of that. I'm just going to.
I know.
Let's find the answer monitor. Here it is. It's over here. That's the point.
Yes, sir.
They have actually recorded 6, 1 less.
Wow, 1 less.
There you go. Hey, fine margins tonight.
Yeah. That was a tough one.
But that's music in my genre, right? Like that's stuff in between my 15 and 25 years old.
Yeah. Well, I thought we'd just come forward in time a bit, right? Rather than the.
Although you want to know something, I didn't think that Slipknot had. I didn't think they had that many.
Oh, really? I'm surprised. I thought they might have had about a little bit more than that, because, like you say, they've been around longer, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but they are a touring band, right? They like to go out and play. So
probably got more live albums. We should have checked that, right?
Yeah.
Where's Ringo gone? Are we going to answer Ringo's question?
Ringo.
Hello.
Oh.
Well, hopefully he makes it back.
We'll put it to one side then.
Okay.
It's tough sometimes for him because I think he's with Starlink, and a lot of times they're still doing changes and fixing stuff.
Right.
So he's at the odd time he's had a interrupted connection, let's say.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't affect him tonight.
Yeah. Well, it depends what happens when he comes back, but it's now Heiko's got a 3-point lead.
Yeah.
17-14. So it's on Ringo now. He could go 3 points behind.
I used to have a good lead way back when, but then I let him catch up.
Yeah, he had about 4 or 5 points at one point.
But the thing is, I'm gonna try and win now because you said you want to change the game up to something else.
Yeah. We're going to do some 21 points, but you have to win by 2 clear.
All right. Just like cribbage.
Yeah. Just to make it, just to spice things up. You have to spice things up, right?
Absolutely. So I told you guys what I got my wife for her birthday, right?
No.
I got her. It's funny because she goes around. Right? For my birthday, my husband doesn't get me a day out on the spa or a weekend away in the vineyards or something like that. He gets me a high performance exhaust for my grand.
Yes, you did. Yes, right. You did tell us.
Kind of converter, right?
Yeah. So you know what's funny now? A lot of guys pull up beside her and want to drag her, right? It's hilarious. And she'll do it. She's beat a lot of people and put them to shame.
Car doesn't go any faster. It just sounds a lot louder, so you waste twice as much gas. I know, I've done it to a lot of cars.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Ringo, are you back? Can you hear us?
I am. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got your question here on the back burner.
No, I had to swap computers. I am at the office, and I'm using a Rogers connection, which is shit right now.
But that's too bad.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I should have stayed on the ranch, right? So I heard something about Slipknot though, and I missed the Slipknot question.
Well, that was Heiko's question.
It was Heiko's, but
it was Queens of
But
Stone
I'm a fan of Slipknot. Is Heiko? Have you seen Slipknot? I mean, he thought Iron Maiden was a bar band, so
yeah. and Slipknot isn't?
No, they fill a bar. They play with
they drink at a bar.
Eggs.
Perfect. I'm in.
Smash baseball bats off kegs.
Oh, there you go.
Cheers, Keisha.
Cheers.
She's still recovering from the weekend. Nice. Idaho potatoes. That'd go, Danny.
So, what's Ringo's question?
Okay.
Let's hear it.
All right. Studio albums. Heiko got his right that Queens of the Stone Age have recorded more studio albums than Slipknot, 7-6. So he's now 17 points to 14. Ringo's 14. Here's Ringo's question on the B side, on the A side, I should say. Korn have recorded 13 studio albums. Have Metallica recorded more or less studio albums than 13?
Wait a minute.
What?
Did you say Korn?
Yeah, K-O-R-N. Yeah, the band. Yeah, Korn.
With a K.
Korn with a K.
Not Korn.
You could do this, Ringo.
Korn.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Korn and Metallica. Okay, more what? Did you say
studio albums?
Albums of
Korn have 13
studio albums.
Studio albums, like not live, not including live albums, compilations, all that kind of stuff. 13 of them. Did Metallica have more or less than 13 studio albums?
I'm gonna say they had. Oh, that's such a hard one because I love both bands. That doesn't matter. But I would say that Metallica did.
You think Metallica has more?
Yep.
Are you sure that's what you want to say?
Hey, that's my
it was actually Korn.
Hey, I'm Mr. Russian reader.
Korn, my final answer.
Well, changed his answer.
Korn have got 13. I've recorded 13. Metallica have recorded more or less. What are you going for? Less. Yeah, it's only 10.
There you go. Good stuff, bud.
All right, so it's 17.
By a pack of smokes and a case of beer, right?
And what's their worst album? Everybody knows it. Everybody knows Metallica's worst album.
Some kind of monster?
Saint Anger.
Oh, Saint Anger. Oh, yeah. What was that album again?
Yeah.
So
they changed the snare.
Actually, our good friend Richard actually, I guess used to do security for Metallica here and there. So that was kind of cool. And I believe he knows our guest, Mr. Rudy Blair, who we're going to bring in just a moment.
Yes.
So what's the final score? What are we looking at as far as the
Habs game
goes, George?
Oh,
what for the more or less challenge?
Yeah,
it's 17-15.
Wow, for me.
Yeah,
for Heiko. So 2 points.
I'm letting him get ahead.
It's only till 21. If you're losing by 2 points at 21, that's it. It's game over.
Okay.
Literally.
It's all fun, and I'm looking forward to the next thing.
Yeah,
but we're going to wind up going to like 40 or 50 because we're never more than 2 points apart.
No, I mean we got to keep the dream alive that you might win this. I'm just giving you because I mean at the beginning, didn't you have like a 10-point lead?
Oh, I had a big spread, and then I said, "Oh, this
you had a big
fair.
spread," and then I kind of crushed it after a while. But hey, Derek,
I've got all the
we got to get Rudy in, but before we do, your T-shirt, Derek, what is that? A band? Is that a
that's
a band?
It is. They just recently actually got signed to Stomp Records out of Quebec or Montreal.
I know Stomp.
Yeah. Doghouse Rose. I just a band that I play with over the years. We were talking earlier how in Ajax there's this little underground place that we played, and we set off the fire alarm because our smoke machine got stuck on while they were playing, and that was the second time ever in Rody that the smoke alarm had got set off.
Nice. Building's on fire.
That's a story. I mean, I won't get going on road stories, but I'm wearing Rise of Dissension. And they're out of Kingston. And what an incredible band. They're kind of like Pantera meets Pantera, I guess. No, they're really good, really heavy band. I had the opportunity to do a show with them a few years ago, and with I think it was Anvil, but it was all good. So yeah, cool shirt. And then George, you got what? Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I was right. See, my eyes aren't as bad as I thought.
I thought you were just joking there, and then he bent up or stood up.
No,
I'm like, oh, shit.
he's got quite a few KC
I've
shirts.
been making my way back to you.
Hey, I'm still waiting for my Taylor Swift shirt. I'm holding you.
I've got it in a package ready.
All right.
I've still got Craig's.
Right. Yeah.
Stacey's his 2 T-shirts. I've got them. Well, we're set free again. But I actually did an interview with Casey a few years ago on my ballroom show. Yeah. On the phone.
I flew back from Chicago. They were doing a gig up at Rama, and I got to sit with them. I got to sit with DC and his handler. So, so we've got Rudy Blair coming on, and Rudy's got Rudy Blair Entertainment. You can find him online. This guy has been in the business for almost, I guess, around 30 years, and he's interviewed the likes of Beyoncé to a lot of pop stars, but to I believe Avril Lavigne, and a bunch of others. But he's participated in some of the biggest award shows. So what's
is he
really
in the green room
cool,
now?
He is in the green room.
All right,
and we were about to bring him in.
Well, let's get Derek to throw a couple things out there too.
Well, Rudy Blair. He's got awards from 16 radio, television, news directors awards nationally and regional. He's from the Vaughan Road Academy Hall of Fame. He's received honors from an honors degree from Humber College. He's been around. If you've listened to AM 680 any time in the last probably 23 years, you've heard this man.
Yeah.
And he's wild online on Rudy Blair Entertainment, right? He's got his own site. So it's awesome. Yeah.
TV, radio around here, he's covered it.
Well, let's get him on.
Guests like this on our show, like.
Hey, Rudy.
Welcome. There he is.
I don't know what the hell I've been listening to for the last half hour, man. From
you've got a cool setup in the background, man.
Well, it's all virtual, just so you know. So
I was going to say, what are you recording there? Bands, obviously, but
no, all virtual because that's the way it's going. But you guys are freaking hilarious. I'm just sitting there going, wives and fries, and I'm going, what the hell? And then, of course, the Casey the Sunshine Band T-shirt. Let me tell you something. Back when I was really young, I was a massive fan of Casey. In fact, the other day I was blaring Casey songs out of my car. Okay, because that's summertime, and I have been lucky to interview him in person 3 times. And that show you were talking about at Casino Rama, I was actually invited up there for my birthday and got a chance to talk to him again. So when it comes to Casey, massive fan. So I love the fact that I saw the shirt. I was like, damn, I'm not the only one who's got a KC shirt.
Well, actually, Rudy, you've just blown one of my questions I was going to ask you later. I'm saying the question was, what are you listening to at the moment in your car?
There you go.
Actually, you want to know, here's the thing. I will say this. It's not just KC. I think ever since the pandemic, I've been listening to a lot of 80s music, some 90s music, and I've even jumped back over to the 70s. Just stuff that I used to listen to on the radio or on 45s, which I love to see the guys showing the vinyl. Yeah. It just seems like because everything was going so bad for everybody, you just wanted to feel good. And to me, especially music from the 80s, made me feel good. You were remembering the good times and how you dressed, what you drove, just the fact of going to clubs, or not even just going to clubs. If you're living in Toronto, just the fact on a Saturday night, you can drive up and down Yonge Street, cruising, meet people, pick up people, go to Yorkville. You didn't have to go in a club. Outside was the club. And I think listening to that music just sort of made me remember good times, and that's what I needed during this time.
Yeah, because I was in Manchester, England. I didn't come here till '87, but I mean, I was DJing in the clubs in Manchester in the '70s, and KC came out in '74. I heard Queen of Clubs was the first one. Loved it.
That's right.
I used to drive around in my little Ford Escort in rainy Manchester, pretending I was in Miami, going, "Yeah, get you know." It got me through the '70s. You know?
Nice.
Yeah.
Such a good time. Such a good time.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
and I find a lot of the music from that era is still with us. Like that music has hung around for quite a long time. It's been here for decades, and it's a shame some of the newer stuff doesn't have that magnetism where people love to listen to it. You know.
Well, I think, again, George talking about the clubs and everything. Let's face it, that music was made for not just the clubs, but backyard parties, school parties, dances, driving. It's funny because, like I said, I'm an old guy, but I still like to play my music loud. And if I play a certain song, like, for example, I played the remix to Julian Lennon's Much Too Late for Goodbyes. Yeah. And I had it up. Literally, every time I stopped at a red light, people would dance to it. Like, literally, I'd be going, and you're just going to yourself, this is a song. The guy had a one hit, but back then is still danceable and listened to today. The music today, and I'm not knocking the artist, it just seems like there's no real passion behind it, whether it be on the beats or whether it be in the lyrics. It just seems like it's a repeated thing. Whereas back then, even if it was just, like Cars, you only had like a few, lyrics to it, but the bum, 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 you danced all night just listening to that.
That's right.
Who's gonna drive you home? Yeah.
There you go.
I used to have that discussion with people around at the time who didn't share my taste in music that I worked with. They like the Eagles and all that kind of stuff in the '70s. And I said, well, you only ever hear it on a little TV, on a little speaker, or on a car. I said, if you are in a club and you hear it, it takes on a whole different identity. It's got to be loud. It's got to be proud. You know what I mean? And like, if you hear it that way, it's a whole different experience than just listening to it in your headphones or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk about the Eagles, that's now a different thing, because now we're talking about storytelling, and we're talking about getting lost in music and being able to drop that needle on that vinyl from the beginning and just sitting back and doing whatever you want to do. And you listen from beginning to end, and then you flipped it over and you did it again. And no matter how many times you listen to that album, you got a different story. Because of whatever experiences that you were going through. You don't have that now, because honestly, it's like, I don't want to listen to a beginning to end if there is a beginning to end to it. There are very few, don't get me wrong, again, there are artists that are doing what they can, and they do put out great singles, but as a concept, come on, Hotel California, please, who's going to touch that?
Yeah.
Right.
No, you can't.
No, you just listen to it in a different way. That's what I was saying. You put a KC album on, that's different. It's a different experience. But if you got to listen to it in its proper environment,
absolutely,
full impact, and that's the way to do it, right? Not everyone did that.
Yeah. And see, Rudy, there's one of our fans, Danny, saying right now, Ozzy Osbourne said it best: today's artists are not musicians.
It's not just that they're not musicians. It's they're not artists. And when I say artists, I mean as a canvas in painting a picture. Because as we all know, if you go to a museum or you see a picture, we can all see the same picture, okay? But we're going to see it differently because of our experiences. The songs that we have out now, to me, doesn't do that. I mean, even early when you look at hip-hop songs or, even metal songs, whatever genre you want to look at, they were telling stories in some type of way. If they weren't telling stories, then they were going to make sure that you danced or you had a good time. Today, it's just, like I said, it just sort of goes, that's the only way I can describe it. And it's hard because, like when you know, when I watch the Grammys or try to watch the Grammys and I see these artists come up and I hear what song is being nominated, I'm going, what the hell? And then I'll go back and listen to it and going, what the hell? Because I don't see the staying power in those songs. I don't see that song that I'm hearing now, 20 or 30 years from now, people are going to go, man, you know what? That song changed my life and this is how they did it. A lot of songs from back in the day do that, which is why a lot of the younger artists today will tell you, and I've had a chance to interview them, they'll say they listen to their parents' music or their grandparents' music. Because I remember when I was growing up, I mean, you know, during the 70s and 80s, I mean, I was listening to songs that were going on in the 50s and even in the 40s and, of course, the 60s. And I had respect for that because I understood where the process was growing. But now, today, I mean, when you got so many people sampling songs and stuff, these kids will turn around and go, well, that's from what song? And then if you play it for them, they immediately ignore it, going, oh, I don't like it. It's like, no, wait a minute. Listen to it first. And then you're going to understand. And then you understand why that one from back in the day is actually better than the one you're listening to now.
Right. So where's your favorite place to listen to music?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You know, here's the thing, and I'm going to be quite honest. These days, I don't listen to, say, like radio anymore. Right. So really, if it wasn't for I consider job, but I mean, it's fun what I do. If it wasn't for what I do and the information that I get, I probably wouldn't even be telling you about who's doing what or whatever, because, you know, and I'm gonna jump around on this because I think this is important to talk about. Radio back in the day, I think a lot of us went through when we had the transistor radios, listening, you know, 2:00 in the morning. We had a little tinfoil on it, and you're trying to get Texas and listen to what's going on down there. You know, people back then who were on radio, they were the best because they were artists also. Yes, they were DJs, but the way they spoke, the way they presented the songs, and then, you know, listening to the songs and everything. I mean, it was such a package. We don't have that now. The reason why we don't have that now is because we have program directors who are telling their announcers, not DJs anymore, so announcers, you're allowed to say this, you have this amount of time, and blah, blah, blah. Back in the day, DJs could do whatever the hell they wanted. I mean, they could literally burn down the studio. And the office guys didn't care as long as they brought in ratings. I mean, you don't hear about the stunts and the crazy things going on. I mean, man, like when I listened to Wolfman Jack back in the day, I mean, you know, just hearing that growl voice and everything, it was like, damn, this guy is badass, you know. But he had a rhythm and he could talk and he had a rap that you just went, oh man, this is so cool. And I wanted to listen to the songs that he would present. There's nobody really out there for me to listen to as an announcer.
Right.
I want to do that. I mean, Roger Ashby, you know, retired, and he was one of really the last guys that I would want to listen to who would talk about what's coming up new. So it's hard. It's like I said, if it wasn't for my job, I'm not really listening to a particular station.
Yeah.
Well, you're obviously into indie. I've checked up on you a little bit, and I've noticed you're on your second year now of hosting Indie Friday nights at Yonge and Dundas Square. How do people who are in indie bands get in touch with you about that, or how do you pick the bands to be on there?
Well, here's the thing. I did it for 2 years. I'm not doing it this year.
Oh, okay.
Sort of moving on. But I will say this, from when I was doing it, actually the folks at Yonge Dundas Square, they're the ones who actually had a chance to, you know, pick the artists. It just so happened that the artists they picked, thank God, were artists that I had already interviewed, a lot of them. And that comes from, of course, with the PR people that I work with, who are amazing folks who are out there. And, you know, one of the things that I've always loved being in this business for as long as I have is the fact that a lot of the artists, when I talked to them in the beginning, they were indie artists. Nickelback, They were indie artists when I had the first chance to talk to them. Avril Lavigne just got signed when I first had a chance to speak to her. Michael Bublé had like a spiky haircut and only had one song. So a lot of these artists I've had a chance to meet in the beginning and watch them grow, which is why, to me, in the platform that I have, I think it's very important to interview indie artists, to give them a platform, to give them a chance to talk, because you just never know who or what is going to be. Like right now, one of the bands I'm just like, love so much, Monoliths. Like, they're just tearing it up these days. And I interviewed them and met them years ago when they were performing at Toronto's City Hall Live, 6 o'clock in the evening with a small audience. And now these guys are just on the verge, like literally on the verge, and making it huge across Canada. So to me, you know, if it wasn't for the folks who I get a chance to work with, and I said a lot of the PR people who introduced me to a lot of these bands, you know, I would never have had a chance to meet them. I'm so glad that I do, because it is a blessing to watch them from the beginning, playing in small, you know, places and a few people, to being at, you know, Scotiabank Theatre or somewhere, Massey Hall, and performing. And then we get a chance to talk and say, hey, remember when? And they're like, yeah, I remember.
Awesome.
So, Rudy, I'm going to ask you, well, I don't think it's a tough question, but how has COVID affected your business in terms of, I mean, the obvious here is that major venues are shut down, but what are you doing in between while we're waiting to get back on big stages?
Well, here's the funny part. It's what we're doing right now. Before all this, you know, I was out and I was hosting a lot of places and, you know, going out to a lot of, you know, venues and stuff like that. And especially in the summertime, I mean, you can make a really good chunk of change. But because of COVID, I mean, let's face it, everything shut down. So I had to sort of reevaluate how I was going to do things. And while everybody was jumping on doing the virtual, like what we're doing now, I decided to wait because I wanted to see how this was going to work. And if you guys remember how a lot of people were on Zoom and things like that, I mean, they had the cameras up their noses, they had bad backgrounds, the internet would be shutting off and on. I mean, the first 20 minutes of their broadcast would be, is this on? Is this going? I didn't want to do that. I wanted to come out strong. So I waited. And then once I could figure out what I wanted to do, my virtual background, my microphone, everything else, I needed to figure out how this was going to work. And once I put this all together, I actually started getting virtual MC gigs. So I've been MCing events virtually. I've been hosting events virtually. And I've been doing lots of interviews like you guys are doing virtually. And honestly, I think what's going to happen is even when things go to, if you want to call it normal, I'm going to continue to do this. Unless I am on a red carpet or something like that, I'm going to continue to do as much virtual as possible because let's face it, when we're done, all I got to do is turn off my microphone, turn off my computer, walk upstairs, and I get to go to bed or watch TV or whatever else. And It's nice not having to travel somewhere and having to unpack a camera and doing all these things and then coming back. This is actually a pretty nice setup. So unless I have to be there, like I said, on a red carpet, I'm going to keep this going for as long as possible.
Well, and you can touch a global audience as well, right? Where you know, if you're going to one place, I mean, nothing will absolutely replace live performance, and I'm all for that. But I think the numbers in terms of what venues, you know, we're not going to see this thing open up where, 20,000 cap is all, it's okay, right? Like it's going to have some kind of restrictions. And you're right. I think my generation and maybe Heiko and George's, you know, like, I mean, they're a lot older than I am, but I think their generation doesn't like to get their ass off the couch much. I mean, look at Heiko, right? Good example. And then there's George. George, you haven't left your house in what, 365 days?
Yeah, it's 6 to 8 weeks this Friday since my last Friday.
60,
and then everything's shut down. Boom, gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's a spot for virtual. I've been on some pretty cool things. New Year's there was an event that happened where they brought on a lot of old artists and everything, so you were able to engage. And the technology, unless you're doing a sound stage and streaming it, isn't great for obviously, bands. You got to be really up on that sort of thing. But I don't know. It's oddly, I mean, you can sit in the comfort of your home, have some drinks, and relax. And like you said, when it's done, go to bed. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to smell the person next to you. I probably have a lot of friends out there saying, they're hating me right now because I'm not bashing live performance, but
no,
we're making the best of it, and it's a new day. Bricks and mortar don't matter anymore. I think the festivals, the outdoor festivals, are going to be way bigger than indoor stuff. We've carved out a new world that's not about four walls anymore. So
I agree with you. I was covering the Juno Awards, and I've done that for now. God, I could be on my 26th or 27th Juno Awards, and this was so different for the fact that everything was virtual. So basically, I'm watching the Juno Awards, but I'm sort of, backstage virtually. There's a host backstage, and anytime they brought somebody in, she was able to ask each reporter to say, hey, you can ask a question. And to be able to do that virtually and record it and get all the interviews that you needed, and then shutting down, going up to your room, bedroom, working in your bed till about maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, have it all done, whereas in the past, it would take me a couple of days to get the stuff done, but got it all done, and then I went to sleep. Right. So that's what I mean by that, and I agree with you, too. This is so much easier, and it's not even so much of the fact of, you don't want to be there or don't want to be there. What's the most efficient thing that you can do with your time? This right now is very efficient. Plus the fact, too, there may be 1 or 2 interviews that maybe I might not have gotten before for whatever circumstances, but because virtually that person is staying where they are, they're more of, I got time to do this, and I got time to do that. So it works out very well.
Well, I actually reached out to Bobby Orr last night, and his agent, handler, whatever. I got a flat no, not at this time, but it's amazing how you can, there are a lot of talent out there that is itching to do something. So it's not very hard for us to get someone, of a very high caliber on the show. I mean, we have, in the next few weeks, we've got a really great lineup, and we've had really awesome guests on, like yourself, Rudy. I mean, but this is kind of, I don't think we're going to abandon virtual at all. Multi-billion-dollar companies are using things like Teams and whatever, Zoom. The Howard Stern show, right? I listen to it all the time. I don't know if you're a fan, but anyway, COVID hit, they got on Zoom and away they went. So it's here to stay to some regard, I think.
Absolutely.
So are you gonna miss any thing like getting on tour buses? Like there has to be little things like, hey, I'm doing an interview on the tour bus. Look, I'm on your tour bus, and
it's funny that you say that because like for example, I just got invited by another band, Stereos. Actually, they invited me to come up to their studio next week to watch what they're doing, record and stuff like that. And I love those guys to death, and I probably will do it. But it's funny, I'm not so much about the guy who's like, hey, look at me, I'm on the tour bus or whatever. My thing has always been me talking to whoever I need to talk to. That to me is the most important thing. I don't care if it's on a tour bus. I don't care if it's an alleyway. I don't care wherever it is. All I care about is getting that person and being able to say, yes, I interviewed them. That is the most important thing for me. So getting on a tour bus and whatever, if I'm on a tour bus, it's funny. I'm not even the kind of guy who likes to sit around going, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I just like to get what I need done and present that. That to me is the most important thing because, it's so funny. And I'll jump into this. Since we've had COVID, you guys have probably noticed too, so many people seem to have now their own virtual shows. Yeah. And it's a scary thing because, you guys are great at what you're doing. And I'm so honored and blessed to be on the show. But when I see some of the other folks who just decide, hey, I'm going to get a microphone and I'm going to set up a camera and I'm going to go talk to whoever, and you're just going, really? And they're so bad, but they think they sound great. And it's like, I'm sorry, I've been doing this for, close to 30 years, and I had to learn how to do interviews and stuff like that. You guys are part of the industry, so you guys understand how to do interviews, but there are people out there who just think, oh, I see somebody else do it, I can do it too. No, you can't do it. It doesn't work that way. Very few. And if you think you get a gimmick that's going to make you sound great, don't do it. Like, even though the dude's got like millions of followers, it drives me crazy. The one with the chicken wings.
Jones's foot massage. No,
he does. He has the hot chicken wings, and it's like you got to eat. I always say that one. So I always say this. I always say this to people when they go, "Oh yeah, it's great and everything else." Okay, so the celebrity they have, what did the celebrity talk about? They have no idea, because all they're doing is waiting for whoever it is to get to that real hot wing and start choking. That's all they're watching for.
Yeah,
and that to me ruins what the industry and what you guys are doing and what I'm trying to do. I think it ruins that completely because we're trying to provide some fun. We're trying to provide information and hopefully something that people can take back. And when they're going to have a conversation with somebody going, yeah, well, I was watching these guys and they were talking about, this album that I've never had a chance to, hear or know anything about. That's what I think is important. And that's what you guys do extremely well.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Rudy, thank you. That we're honored to, that's great feedback. In fact, we've had some very strong interviewers like yourself, Alan Cross, and a few others that, but it's amazing for us to hear that. Thank you very much. It's kind of a work in progress for us. Heiko and I have been probably doing this for almost 3 years or a little more. Yeah. And then Derek's come on. Derek was one of our super fans, and we brought him in. And then of course George, we brought him in before Derek, and George was kind of a neat catch because he's like our musicologist, I suppose. Yes. Although he wouldn't take on Alan Cross.
Nobody would.
Hands down.
The only person who could probably take on Alan is George Strombo.
Oh,
I would love to see the two of them go battle.
I'm reaching out to George tomorrow. That's a great idea.
That's
we
awesome.
Gotta set that battle up.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
You know what? Thanks. I can't thank you enough for that. We can't thank you enough for that feedback.
Because it was a learning curve for us, because I had my own show, the Heikadelic show, back when we were audio only in the studio. And George had his DJ show there as well. And I got together with Ringo and another guy because we wanted to start promoting local bands because they don't have a platform they can talk on or play their music on. So we started doing that, and it was very cool because they would have people sending us in emails from Switzerland and Ireland and all over the world saying, oh, I love that music. Where do I get it? Right. And that's how it started. And then we thought, okay, we have to try and get video out there as well so we can capture another audience. So we were dabbling in that. We weren't proficient yet, but then COVID hit. So we're already aimed in the right direction. You know what I mean? So we just went for it, and look at, here we are. And we've been going strong for a couple years now. It's a lot of fun.
And if you think of, and sorry, I want to jump in. When you think about what you just said, that really is what the old radio stations were like. Playing songs that people had not heard of and going, oh, wow, what is this song? I love it. What you guys are doing is old school and what needs to be still in the stream so artists can get their music out. Because let's face it, these days now, unless you're a certain sound, you're not going to get played. And there's no radio stations out there that, unless it's college, that could have somebody walk in and say, hey, I've got a great song. Can you play it? Let's play it. Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. In fact, one of the things that, I always keep thinking about is when I was growing up, when they used that term top 40. Top 40 was rock, pop, country, R&B, whatever. It was what was being played and what was being listened to. Top 40 now is not top 40. It's whatever the big wigs decide should be played. What you guys are doing in a lot of ways is a real top 40 because it's what people want to hear. So congratulations to you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks a million. That's awesome.
There was another guy years ago. I used to like listening to him for the same reason. He was on late at night. Not a lot of people heard from him, but his name was Dave Marsden.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The Mars Bar. He was the guy that would play side B. So You're not listening to your top 40.
Exactly.
You're listening to the good stuff.
That's just it. That's exactly it. How many times do you, I can't even think of the songs off the top of my head right now, but how many times did you hear about, you're supposed to have the one hit on one side and then they flipped it over and it was the flip side that actually ended up being the big hit. I mean, but we don't get that anymore, of course, because we don't play vinyl anymore, but still, just that obscure song just being able to chance to be played and the audience getting a chance to say if they like it or not. Hell, they don't even do anymore when they would do you like the song or don't like the song? I barely hear any radio stations do any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, now all radio stations are pretty much around here anyways, owned by the same company, right?
Of course.
So the problem, which is a massive problem because, again, back in the day when I first got into radio, companies were only allowed 2 radio stations, an AM and an FM. That's it. Mm-hmm. When that mold got broken and everybody started buying things up, it got hard. Plus the fact if you were an announcer, it would be tough for you too, because if you were let go from that radio station, you were let go from that company. Yeah. And so you had to go to another company. Then if you were let go there, you had to go another one. And if you had a bad rep, forget it, because now the big 3 or 4, you can't go anywhere else. So
Dean Blundell. Sorry.
So honestly, thank God for online, because if it wasn't for that, I don't think a lot of people would be able to have some kind of careers out there.
No, it is true.
Rudy, all the points you made earlier about, I guess what's old is kind of new again. That turns out to be pretty good. But you could say that, hey, it was all done, and history's just sort of repeating itself. So these musicians are just, it sounds like this song sounds like. But I found something pretty interesting. I went to a songwriting day and I can't remember the artists that were there, but it was at UIT in Oshawa. But they had very distinct rules that, what does it take to make a great song? And I didn't quite agree, but, I was there to take it in and not to challenge. But, they had it broken down to, here's how many bars you're allowed for an intro. Here's how many. It was a very canned process. Then we got into a little debate, and then I just backed off about storytelling. What does it take in the definition of a storytelling versus, just a song that sort of rhymes and whatever. But I left that very discouraged, actually, because it didn't lend to real creativity. I get for radio, you have to be within a certain set of guardrails. But write the song and get it out there, do your radio version of it, and you're good. But I just found that a little disheartening. So what would be accountable for that process today? Is it we've everything great has been done, or is it too many rules to market material which confines boxes creativity?
That's a great question. Here's what I'm going to say. That creativity is already out there. It's just not being played because stations are only going for this particular melodic sound, and that's where the problem comes in. I have gone to, and you guys have probably done the same thing, before COVID, I have gone to little clubs and little places I've been invited to, and I'm hearing an artist, not just their voice, but the song that they're playing. You're going, oh my God, they're amazing. What's the problem though? Nobody is hearing them because they're in this small club. Meanwhile, so-and-so who's playing at Massey Hall, who's charging, $500 a ticket, is playing a song that I could give a, what about. That's where the problem comes in. So the imagination is there. The creativity is just there. They're not being, and I'll say it, they're not being allowed to play it where it should be played, what radio is supposed to do. So if you don't have that large platform and you don't have the companies to help push that, you're never going to hear that creativity, and you're always going to hear these folks in the small clubs and they're going to do what they can to try to make that living and try to keep their dream alive. Some of them might turn around and say, well, maybe I need to give in and sell out, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And try to get that hit in there so that then they can do what they want to do. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it may not. But the creativity is out there. It's just that the upper ends have to be able to give that opportunity. The other problem that we have too, and let's face it, YouTube is great and everything else, but you know what? I would rather go back to the days when MTV played videos and when Much Music played videos. Why? Yeah. Because you went home specifically to watch a certain something. Whether it was, an hour of indie videos, you went there to watch that. Whether it be, the pop songs. I mean, let's face it, back when I was younger, every kid that I knew went home to watch Michael Jackson's Thriller because we knew it was going to be on at this particular time. Right. Because YouTube, you can watch it anytime. There's no real rush to go out to see certain things. Most of the stuff that we catch now, we catch it by fluke. You're like, oh, I'm listening to this, and oh, I just got that. Well, that sucks. If we could have gone back to those days where literally we only had one place to go and see these things and we knew they were coming out, it would be great. Plus the fact I wish to God there was something back again like the new music, because, when new music was on, like, what was it, Saturday night at 11:30 or 12 o'clock, amazing interviews, amazing artists. And a lot of those artists were indie artists, And then, if you want to even go further, I miss the shows like Don Kirshner's rock concert, the midnight special. We don't have anything like that anymore, where you get to see these bands who are performing in the raw, and we don't have that stuff anymore. I mean, what was it that MTV used to do when they would, have artists perform Unplugged? Thank you. Yeah. We don't have that anymore. And if we could just get back to that kind of stuff, I think it's going to help artists a lot. But we need platforms. CBC has a lot of stuff like that. Problem is, they're not promoting it the way that should be, and it's all online, and you don't even know they're there. Right. So if you don't know if it's there, you're not going to go and see it.
But this week I just did a world record, and it was through the Canadian drumming, right? And that was it was the same type of thing. Like I only heard about it by fluke, and nobody else. Like half the people there weren't even drummers. They're just people who can hit a drum, right? And it was. I think it was through the CDC, one of their groups, right? But it was awesome. I kind of just put my foot in my mouth. But it's tough. I mean, they've got the Searchlight, and they really do what they can for indie artists. I will never take that away from them. But the problem is, like I said, they've got some amazing performances nobody knows anything about because it's just all online. You got to go to cbcmusic.ca to see it. Yeah. If there was just some way to get it out there where you can have people literally go to droves. And let's face it, yes, we have online. Yes, we have all these things. And people can say, watching television, nobody watches television. Bullshit. People watch TV. Okay. Oh, yeah.
They still do. You just have to change it up in a certain way so that so you can guide people with a show to the online. And that's what's needed to be done. And it'll help a lot of indie artists.
Right. I mean, that's great feedback for anybody out there listening. I find, I know a few artists like, say, Crownlands, for instance, right? And they got certainly paid their dues, but they got backed by a label and everything else, and they're touring. They're actually one of the few bands though that I've seen. I was affiliated with a music venue, and they were one of the few bands, up and comers that get discovered and they get some funding behind them. It's very difficult for those indie artists, especially with Spotify. We were talking to Alan Cross, and he mentioned that the digital world has kind of crushed some of the, because we don't have vinyl anymore. The market's very diluted. Players like Spotify don't really pay much at all. I mean, there's
they're not supporting the artists.
Not at all.
Spotify's the radio now.
Right, and it's but what's amazing about it is who's the bands that are providing that, or artists. It's all about those organizations like Spotify are making so much money off the artists, right? In terms of having the content, and the market's diluted. Like you said, everybody's got a podcast. There's so many indie artists trying to put their presence out on Facebook and Instagram and all of that, but it's all out there for free. So it's a very, very difficult. I mean, you certainly have to have a day job to fund your art, right? So I don't know. I don't know what the change is.
You're absolutely true with that, because let's face it, when you had vinyl, you could make a lot of money off of vinyl. Of course, if you had the right record contract, because we all know about what's happened to a lot of artists where you can have a band and they could release an album and they don't realize that not only do they owe all the money that they were given before, but really every album that they sell, 5 guys have to split a penny. I mean, we've heard the horror stories on that.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But let's face it, what really killed artists and, gave birth to Spotify and Apple, one word, man, Napster.
Napster, yeah.
That's the one
that did it.
When Napster came out and you figured, oh, I can get this song for free? Okay, cool. Let me do that. That's what killed it. And, I mean, I've been on panels, the Songwriters of Canada. I've talked to them many times about what's been going on with this, and legislation and so many things are trying to go on to get companies like Spotify to pay the money that they need to pay these artists, because it's ridiculous. Because you want to sit there and go, where's all this money going to? It's not going to the artists. Okay, They're the ones who write it. They're the ones who record it. They're the ones who are out there performing it. Why aren't they getting paid? Bottom line. And nobody seems to have a real answer where the money is going. But somebody's got a yacht and somebody's got like 10 cars in their house. And it ain't the artist.
Living off the interest.
Living off the interest, exactly. And the only thing the artist is trying to do is the artist is trying to live up to the image that they think they're supposed to be living up to. And all they're doing is putting themselves in debt. So it destroys them, helps the company. And then let's face it too, when you have an artist, and we all know this, you have artists who break out, their first album is great and everything, and they're all over the place. And then maybe the second one's doing well. But then suddenly you don't hear anything about them. Why? Because they figured out what their contract really is. They figured out how Spotify and Apple are getting all the money. Now they want to say, I ain't putting out another album until I start getting paid. And then that's where all the problems start coming.
Every 22 seconds, what is it? Every 22 seconds, I think Spotify gets pays out a reward based on that if you're getting hits. But it's a difficult time. I think it also opens up a lot of activity that isn't in the artist's best interest. But without going into detail, I certainly know of a lot of companies out there that are doing artist coaching and, hey, we'll manage you, we'll make you a big star. That still exists, but even more today. And what's happening is the artists are naive because they don't know where to get funding. So they're buying into some of these scams and giving away the rights to their music. And that's an age-old problem, right? So when you're a management company or coaching company, where do you make money? I'm a business guy. I'm a musician as well, but where do you make money, right? So when I ask that question, it's like, unless you've got something that is backed by a label and you're touring, you're touring band and you're doing really well, selling a lot of merch, where's the money in it? Like ringtones? I just don't get it. But what's also happening is, oh, you know what? We're going to make you a star, but we want part of these rights, right?
Yeah.
So, because it costs money to make music, right?
Here's the thing I'm going to add in there. First off, what you just mentioned about ringtones. I so wish I was those companies who were the middlemen back in the day when you couldn't just record whatever you wanted to make your ringtone. You actually had to go and buy it from a company, because those guys all have islands right now and they're retired because kids were changing those ringtones over and over and over again. They're loaded. Yeah. Second thing too, when you talk about management, whatever, I personally feel that when you are an indie artist and you really want to start understanding everything, first off, Canadian Music Week, definitely go to that. Any of those festivals that you can go to that to really understand and learn the business. Hell, if you can even take a course in music management and whatever, do that. Don't think that just because you know how to write a song and know how to perform on stage, you understand the business. The other thing I would suggest is before you even get management or anything like that, get a really good PR person, because that PR person can help guide you. And if you don't know who's a good PR person, you can always look it up, ask questions, ask other people, because honestly, I feel like, again, and the reason why I say this is because the PR people that I deal with are all amazing. Every single one of them. I only try to deal with the best. And they're the ones who understand the record companies. They understand social media. They understand what is happening today, and they can help guide those artists and hopefully keep them around for a long, long time. But again, it's not just about what you do on stage. It's what you do behind the scenes, and you have to understand that. Don't sign anything unless you get it. And especially don't sign long-term deal contracts. Maybe you want to sign for 3 months. Maybe you just want to sign a month. That's good, because then whoever you're working with, you can see how much they're going to do for you. Because if you sign a 2-year deal and that person doesn't do jack, doesn't matter. Yeah. You signed a deal. You got to keep paying them now $600 or $800 or $1,000 every month, no matter what, because it's a signed contract. Sign for a month, and then see what they do for you, and then see if you want to extend it or not.
Yeah, right on. Good. That's good advice. Yeah. So back on a personal note, there, Rudy, I was going to ask you, what is the one interview you did that stands out over everything? If someone's asked you what was your favorite interview, what was it? Or craziest or whatever.
I've been blessed to have a lot of great interviews and great experiences. I would probably say my all-time favorite would probably be Barry White.
Wow.
And the reason why I would say because of Barry White, because growing up I was a big fan, and for folks who may not know who Barry White is, Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe. I mean, this guy is considered the maestro of love. All right. And I had always wanted to interview him. And finally, I was able to arrange to do this. It was over the phone, though. And we talked for about 45 minutes about his career and everything. And the reason why I wanted to talk to him, too, was because I wanted to get advice from him. Because a week from the interview that we did, Valentine's Day was coming up. So I wanted to get advice from Barry White and how does a guy romance a lady, how, what Barry White song to play, like just all of it. And when I played this on Valentine's Day, on when I was working at 680 News, people freaked the hell out. They were like, is that real? Yeah, it's Barry White. It was so memorable, and it was so much fun to talk to him about his career and things like that, that one stands up for me. Another one that stands out is when I interviewed Phil Collins for the first time. And that was because I remember getting a call, and the record company, I think it was Warner Music, said, "Oh, Phil Collins is in town and nobody's really around, so if you want to get an exclusive with him, come down, you can talk to him." Like, So, I dropped my stuff, got in a cab, went down there, went into this boardroom, waited. Next thing I know, the rep and Phil Collins walks in. "Rudy, Phil Collins, Rudy, you got a half hour. We talked about Genesis. We talked about if they were going to get back together. Now, this was probably I think late 90s, so Genesis had not got back together for their tour. We talked about his divorce, the facts, everything.
Wow.
And when I aired this, because this was one of my very first big interviews, nobody believed I did it. They thought that I had taken some recording from somewhere and just dubbed my voice in. I literally had to play part of the interview where we were talking to each other to prove that I did do that interview, and that was a big one. The third one that I always like to point out is Gordon Lightfoot, who is a friend of mine. But back then, I had never met Gordon Lightfoot. When I saw him, I would be like, I'm not going to go bother him because he's a legend or whatever else. So one day I get a call at the radio station, and I got to play it out. So it's like, "Hello, Rudy Blair, 680 News." "Hello, Rudy." And I'm like, "Yes, this is Gordon Lightfoot."
Yeah, sure it is.
Okay. "Hello, sir." And I'm shaking. So I'm like, "Can I help you?" He goes, "Yeah, Rudy, I have a question for you." "Okay." "Why have you never interviewed me?"
Really?
I'm like,
wow.
"I didn't think I could." He goes, "Would you like to?" "Yes." "When do you want to do it?" "Are you free tomorrow?" "Yeah, I'm free tomorrow. I'll come down to your radio station and we'll do it." I run to my boss, and I'm going, "You're not going to fucking believe this. Gordon Lightfoot just called." He's like, "You're kidding." "No." So the next day, I go down to the lobby. There's Gordon Lightfoot. He had a driver. The security guys are all like, "Yeah, we saw him sit down. We didn't know if we could talk to him or not." I'm like, "Just let me handle it." So I introduced myself. He came up. We went to the studio, sat down. I found out that he had been listening to me for years. And he just wanted to know why I never wanted to interview him. I'm like, "You're a legend." Now I've been to Gordon's house. I've been to parties. He's invited me to parties. I've been to his shows. If I'm in a red carpet, Gordon will literally stop talking to who he's talking to, will come over and give me a hug and talk. It was probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had in my career. The fact that a legend like Gordon Lightfoot is going, "I like listening to your interviews. Can you interview me, please?"
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, you never know who's out there.
You never know.
Those are amazing stories. I saw a number of people. Tim McGraw on your list, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, just incredible. So I think we're kind of getting close to the hour. I think we probably got to go kind of round table and look at wrapping up. But Rudy,
we play a game with George here. He shows us the backside of an album, and we try and guess what it is.
Oh, right.
So, George, if you put it up on the screen, Rudy, you can look at it. If you know what it is, just let her rip.
I'm gonna go close on this. So hold on, let me make the screen a little bigger for me.
All right. Derek reckons he knows, so we'll find out. But quick, before we do that, Rudy, I bet to ask you, do you remember what the first record or album that you ever bought with your own money, and do you still have it?
Ooh, honestly, I don't remember the first one that I bought, but I will tell you the first one that I received, and it was the Jackson 5 ABC.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah.
Where did you receive it? Was it a gift or was it a promo?
My dad used to drive to Buffalo, and he would get albums before it would come to Canada, so we would have the U.S. copies. So, that's how I got it.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And do you still have it? Or have you lost
Still
it?
have it. Still have
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. All right, here's the album cover, or the back.
I saw you guys talking about this. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I have no freaking idea who or what that could be. That's Russian or something or what?
It is.
Yeah. It's also a CCCP, right?
Yeah. There is no way I would know who that is.
Can I give it away?
Have a stab. It plays bass.
Yeah. He plays bass
No
left-handed. Left-handed bass. He's from England. He plays in like this big band.
Yeah, they were kind of popular in the 60s.
They were like Bugs.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney.
Is that a McCartney album?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God.
This album is back in the USSR again. That's what that says there.
Of course.
And Paul McCartney recorded this. It was only released in the Soviet Union in 1988. And it's full of like live studio recordings of Kansas City, amongst others, all that sort of stuff that he liked. It's just,
there you go.
And this is why I love vinyl and things like this, because, man, CDs, you can't hold it up like that. And, of course, let's face it, the music stuff now, it's just in the air. This is why vinyl is so important and needs to come back the way it has to be able to show albums like this. Plus the fact, too, I love picture discs. I got a ton of those, too. So love that.
I've got picture discs all around here.
I love it, man.
And outside, I've got the series there. I think it was the 20th anniversary of all the Beatles singles in the UK.
Fantastic.
And they came out as picture discs. And they started off in 1983 with Love Me Do from 63. And they got released for the next 10 years, whatever it was, like as a picture disc, as like a commemorative disc. I have them all. Like, I was buying them as they came out in England. And when I came here, I had to go looking for them again, and I bought them like through eBay and things like that. Spent a fortune.
You got to be buried with that stuff, man, because that's classic.
Are you coming over to take them?
I wasn't going to say anything, but
if you're offering,
like yourself, I was a vinyl junkie. Yeah. I used to get all these promotional copies from labels in England, even here too. And there was nothing better than just getting this vinyl and listening to it for the first time, whether it was an established artist or a brand new artist, didn't matter. It was just fun. The whole experience, a smell and aroma and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of smells and aroma, I remember I bought an album once and I got it home and I opened it up and it had the biggest freaking rolling paper inside that I ever did see. Do you remember that album? Cheech and Chong?
Cheech and Chong.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Came with a rolling
you don't
paper.
Get that stuff now. You don't get that kind of stuff anymore. You know, I still remember when Boots's Rubber Band and the Bootsy Collins album, where you could open it up and you could pop up the sunglasses that he had in there to wear. You don't see that kind of stuff anymore, man.
No.
So, Rudy, thanks a lot for being on, and we would hope maybe we can ask you on again sometime. We know you're very, very busy. Our good friend Richard chimed in, and we got talking about you, and we thought, hey, we're going to reach out and see if we can get you on the show. So we're very honored to have you here, and thanks for all that feedback. We could go on and on. I just don't think Heiko has the energy to.
Yeah, sure.
He actually fell 12 feet. How long ago? 3 months ago now, Heiko?
April 22nd.
Oh,
yeah.
And he broke what? 7 ribs?
Shattered my shoulder, broke 9 ribs, and a bunch of vertebrae fractures, and a punctured
Dude, and you're still doing the show, man.
Yeah.
Straight up respect, and you know what? Straight up respect for all of you guys, because this is an amazing show. I've had amazing experience with this, and absolutely, I'd be honored to come back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Heiko was doing the show days after his accident from his hospital bed. There's a pro for you.
Yeah.
Wow. we dialed him in, and I'm like, Hike, are you sure you want to do it? Oh, yeah.
Morphine drip.
But then when his morphine drip was off, he would get really a couple of the F-bombs would come out, it's like,
oh yeah.
So, but he's a trooper.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing, man.
One other really quick question, Rudy.
Yeah.
I watched the interview you did with Grace Peacock, and is that true? You really want to jump off that cliff?
Yes.
I think that's so awesome. That was the one I want to jump off the cliff. Yeah. it's a newer thing to have at Wonderland. There's 3 different levels you can jump off.
Come on, man. Who doesn't want to jump off of that damn thing?
Oh, no, I would try it. I would try. Who wouldn't?
Exactly.
I always did it at Bon Echo Park. You ever heard of Bon Echo? You go up there, you take a canoe, and they have cliffs there that are even higher than that. And if you want to scale them, you can jump off into the lake. It's unbelievable. It's so cool.
Amazing.
So
and like I said, man, I will do it. And like I said, I will do this show again too.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So, I
want to thank Rudy Blair once again for being on our show. Rudy's online. He's got what's a Rudy Blair Entertainment.
Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, RudyBlairMedia.com. I should remember that now after 5-6 years.
Yeah, check him out, people. He's got some amazing interviews, and you won't get bored. That's for sure. I also want to thank some of our fans that were part of the show today. Richard, Danny, Kathy, Keisha, and Stephanie Ann. Loved your comments, and hope to see you guys all again in another week from now, next Monday night at 9:30, here on the Heikadelic Show. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's another wrap for the Heikadelic Show, folks, so time to get dirty. And don't forget, listen in next week on Monday night and every Monday after that for the Heikadelic Show at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like more information on the Heikadelic Show, please find us at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. We'll see you all next week on the Heikadelic Show. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the Heikadelic Show, it's easy. Just send us an email at info@theheikedelicshow.com. Meanwhile, you can browse our website at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. Click on our sponsor tab and find out more information on sponsorships. Thanks for joining the Heikadelic Show, fans.